President Bola Tinubu has ranked among the world's most corrupt leaders. This is according to a ranking released by the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, Occrp. The award comes after a global poll that sought to spotlight individuals notorious for promoting corruption and criminal activities were released. According to the Occrp, Tinubu came third in the poll, following Kenyan President William Ruto and former Indonesian President Joko Widodo. With Tinubu's alleged history as a cocaine dealer in Chicago and allegations of certificate forgery has also been cited as reasons for his inclusion in the Occrp ranking. However, the overall Person of the Year title was awarded to Bashar al-Assad, the recently ousted leader of Syria. Tinubu's alleged role in entrenching a regime of corruption in Nigeria earned him this dubious distinction, according to the report. It further said his 8-year tenure as governor of Lagos from 1999 to 2007 was marred by allegations of corruption and amassing wealth for himself and his family. Ambassador Kiye, what do you have to say to this?
Well, I think it's a national blackmail on our leader.
Okay.
And then it does not represent whom the president of Nigeria is. I could also agree possibly is a politically initiated and motivated report.
Global report.
It doesn't mean, the fact that it's a global organization doesn't make it the apex global organization.
Doesn't make it immune from political
yes, that has to do with integrity.
You're right.
So I want to call on this organization to retrieve this kind of course, freedom of information anyway. They may not retrieve it, but I think it does not represent whom the president of Nigeria is. My president is not what they have presented him to be. So if they said our president is the third most corrupt president, they are saying that Nigeria is, associated with corruption. So, and I am not a corrupt leader, and I know that Nigerian president is not what they say. Now, if the judgment is based on his record while as governor, so you can see the political blackmail.
They brought it down. It wasn't just while he, according to the records, they also had to bring out a drug.
That's what we are saying.
He had in Chicago.
These are records.
And also issues around certificate forgery.
That's what we are saying now.
The issue around certificate forgery, Ambassador Kiye, did it or did it not happen?
You are aware.
Did it or did it not happen?
You are aware that during the presidential election period and after that period, there were clear certifications that these matters were in court. You are aware. And if the Nigerian court...
Was there ever a time, was there ever a move in a court in we to stop the Chicago State University from releasing the president's...
No. You see, what we need to understand...
Shouldn't there be transparency in issues like this?
There was transparency.
Okay.
What I don't agree is the social engineering of the Westerners, trying to make our leaders or make Africans in entirety to be something that you can't write anything good about. Now, you talk about issue of certificate forgery. These were things that went to court. The drug issues. So even the issue of his, corrupt practices while as Lagos State Governor, these matters were in courts and it was exhausted. So you cannot be insulting
when you say trying to demonize Africa by the Western forces. Now, the person that took the award as the first, because they called it an award, interestingly, is the former president of Syria. And Syria in Africa.
When I say, I understand what I'm saying. Now, Syria is not a Western country.
It's not an African country.
That's what I'm saying.
But you say it's
no.
This thing is engineered.
I'm speaking from the West and Asia. There is this global war. There is this global disrespect for each continent. There are continents that feels that they are the best. There are continents that feels that they are okay. Whereas we see what they do to our people who are over there.
What are our people doing to us?
What they are focused on.
I think we should even be focused on what African leaders are doing to Africa.
Good. Now,
should we leave the Westerners and focus on what African leaders
good.
are doing to Africa?
I am not saying that we have 100% good leaders in Africa. Most of our leaders are bad. Most of our leaders.
You said most.
When I say
so, when you say most, then whatever you call political manipulation, then saying most of our leaders are bad negates your earlier statement of political manipulation by the Western countries.
We saw recently, we heard about the sex scandal of the current president of America, Donald Trump, right? That didn't stop Americans from voting him as their new president. There are issues that surround Donald Trump even before the elections. You are aware. There were court challenges, court contentions, and all of that. But because they feel that he was not convicted, and he was still qualified to be their president. This is almighty America. Now,
was there a convention in the case of President Bola Tinubu?
No.
Related with regards to the drug
not at all.
issue in Chicago?
Not at all. Now, what we are trying to say is that this report is politically initiated and motivated.
Why
do you say so? It's very obvious, because if the report is based on his current leadership as the president of Nigeria, it would have made sense, because you do not come and bring out a history of a man 20 years ago, and then that's what you are using to present a judgment in 2024. That tells you how political it is. So I feel that my president should have been judged based on his performance, how he has condoned corruption. And these are the instances.
How he has done what?
No. Since they talk about how he has condoned corruption, how he has not fought corruption, how he has misbehaved, and cite the instances.
Has the president been fighting corruption?
Of course, we have agencies.
Give me instances, please.
You are aware of the former CBN governor?
Betedu is still working free, she not?
Pardon?
Has there been a clear conviction of all the allegations? I mean, Betedu's story broke early this year, and it has gone silent. I was even shocked.
The matter is still in court now. I was even
shocked yesterday when she came out to make a statement. I was like, oh, interesting, all right, very well. You understand. There were issues around, and you recall that Betedu scandal also brought in, I think, was it the Minister of Interior was also affected in that scandal as well. I can go on.
And he excused her out of the government, is it not?
But the Minister of Interior is still Minister of Interior.
No. You see, allegation does not mean conviction.
Well, but it is not convicted. She should have still.
The matter is in court.
Well, Minister of Interior
if the cases, the president in his wisdom, knows what is good and what is not good. So I believe that these people are not convicted. Until they are convicted, we cannot tag them as corrupt people. There are allegations. So once the court pronounce them corrupt, then you can say this person.
Now, if I may remind you, because you were very quick to quote America, and that's what happens most times. People quote America. We are in a third world country, but then let's still go back to America, shall we? In situations where most leaders who are already in office, not running for office like Donald Trump, but people who already are in office, either elected or appointed, is a situation where at the mere mention of a little scandal or linking their names to the slightest of scandals, they resign from office.
No. You see,
I need you to build the Nigerian system, because you started citing America. So let's go with American standard.
You see, what
in governance and politics.
What I expect is that this judgment Because they
it's
said
not a judgment, it's an award.
No, they said the president of Nigeria, is it not? If they have said
ranked third.
If they have said the former governor of Lagos State, it would have meant that the judgment,
the award was to world leaders, not governors.
That's what we are saying now.
It was meant for leaders, not governors.
Good, but the insight, the reference was when he served as a governor. So that's why I told you that this is a politically...
They made reference from then to date.
No. You see...
They made reference from then to date.
No.
And in this instance, you understand, the president... Tinubu became president, and still that saga or certificate was still hanging. These are things you cannot, and will you say, do you get, now, if I may ask you, Ambassador, what were the indices?
Of what?
Are you privy to the indices
of what?
that they considered to attend to this?
No, it's the point I'm trying to let you know here is, you see, you can't judge Nigeria with American Constitution. You can't judge...
You were citing America here. We are very quick to cite America.
I know what I'm saying. You can't judge Nigeria with Equatorial Guinea's constitution. You can't judge Nigeria by your organizational constitution. If the constitution of Nigeria cleared His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Bola Tinubu as presidential candidate for the election, it means that he qualified to become the president. Now, if he ran the election, there were matters in contention about most of these things that they cited.
Was there a pass that was used as well?
Pardon?
Was there a pass that was linked? Now you're saying whatever happened in the past when he was Lagos State Governor, according to them, and when he was in Chicago, all those things do not count.
There was a Supreme Court ruling before the election, before the inauguration, that this issue of drug and certificates were cleared. You are aware. So if our Supreme Court have exonerated our president with our law, I don't think somebody elsewhere needs to come and indict the president, because it's an indictment. And I feel that if he's a Nigerian or this organization operates in Nigeria, I think they should have been sued, because it's an insult to our judicial system.
They should have been sued.
Of course.
For having freedom of speech and expression,
Freedom,
for asking questions,
for opposing. It's like they're giving.
Are we running a tyrannical? Is it? Do you want to turn us to? Is it North Korea or South Korea?
You can't give a new judgment when there is.
This is not a judgment. This is they called it an award. No, it is not. Now I need to go. It is not a judgment.
Defamation of character.
Well, you can come from that angle, but it is not a judgment. Don't call it a judgment. They called it an award.
I want to tell this organization that I'm awarding you as the most corrupt organization in the world, because you are so insensitive and you are not very up to date. Because if you want to judge a leader by his present statutes, you called him the current president of Nigeria. Is that not? So the judgment around him, if it has to do with corruption, should be what has happened
while he was president.
Yes. If you tell us that you looked at his fight against corruption, that it was low compared to other leaders around the world, in this area, then we'll begin to reason with you. We cannot look inward. You say, is my president, is president of Nigeria actually fighting corruption? Is he actually condoling corruption by this recent, award to him? It calls for concern. But we looked at the summary of their judgment. It's based on past record. And I want to feel that our president should not cross over with such kind of judgment. We are expecting a better Nigeria. We are expecting a better leader. We are expecting a better governance. And then one set of organizations somewhere is saying that my president is the third most corrupt president in the world. How?
All right, very well. Ambassador Ekiye, it's going to be a wonderful 2025, right? Like you have said. Let us be very hopeful.
One.
I mean, miracle. The Nigerians will always say miracle, no, they tire Jesus.
It's not even us about.
Let's just be. No, you said you have prayed now. You're a Christian.
Yes.
So,
and I'm expecting
first of, I can assure you, 1st of January 2026, you'll be on this show. and we'll talk about your prophecies and your projections for 2025.
Yes.
No, don't worry. 2020, you'll be alive. 2026, 1st of January,
the testimonies about Nigeria
we will have another date.
It will be a different
2026
one. And
January.
Fact,
I will play some of the things you have said here.
Nigeria
all right.
Thank
you very much, Ambassador Kiye, for coming. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much.